PowerShell Get-WinEvent paid for itself for me during a Monday outage review. 3 file servers had rebooted over the weekend. Event Viewer on one box was already slow. Searching 3 was worse. The system log was measured in gigabytes, and every click felt like it was asking Windows to rethink its life choices. The clue was not exotic. Event ID 6008 said the previous shutdown was unexpected. Event ID 41 from kernel power lined up with the same window. 5 minutes with Get-WinEvent beat an hour of clicking, exporting, and guessing. The manual path breaks because event logs are not small anymore. A domain controller, remote desktop host, or busy application server can carry enormous system, application, and operational logs. Event Viewer is fine for reading one event. It is poor for answering fleet questions. The old Get-EventLog commandlet is also the wrong habit now. It exists in Windows PowerShell 5.1, but not in PowerShell 7, and it only understands the older classic logs. Then there's the classic beginner mistake: pull thousands of records and pipe them to where object. That filters after PowerShell already paid the cost. On a large log, that is how a 2-second question becomes a coffee break. The core idea is simple. Make the Windows Event Log service do the filtering before objects enter the PowerShell pipeline. Get-WinEvent can query classic logs, modern Windows event channels, saved event log files, and provider-based logs. FilterHashtable is the practical admin interface for that. You give it keys like LogName, ID, ProviderName, StartTime, and EndTime. The log service returns the matching records. Only then do you sort, select, group, export, or format. I am opinionated here. Start every investigation with a time window and MaxEvents. Never dump a 4 GB log blind. You are not proving toughness, you are wasting the workstation and possibly the server. Start by discovering what exists. Get-WinEvent-list log. Sort that by record count if you want to see the noisy logs. For a safe first look, run Get-WinEvent-LogName system MaxEvents 20. That returns the newest 20 events by default. For real work, use a hash table. Get-WinEvent-FilterHashtable at LogName system ID 6008-41. Start time with getDate.AddDays -7, MaxEvents 50. Then pipe to select object, TimeCreated ID, ProviderName, MachineName message. For new services, query system with ProviderName equal to Service Control Manager and ID equal to 7045. That event is gold when you need to know what service was installed and when. Here is a normal help desk escalation. Ticket says users lost access to AppSRV17 around 2:10 Sunday morning. First, establish the window, $start equals getDate-AddDays -3. Query AppSRV17 with Get-WinEvent, computer name AppSRV17, -FilterHashtable at LogName system, ID 600A41, start time $start, MaxEvents 20. If remote event log access is blocked in your shop, use invoke command and run the same query on the server through PowerShell remoting. If you see 41 followed by 6008, you have evidence of an unclean shutdown, not a graceful restart. Then check ID 7045 in the same window. A newly installed service before the reboot changes the conversation. The first pitfall is using where object for the main filter. This is fine after you have 50 records. It is terrible when you have 5 million. The second is relying on message for everything. Message text is rendered from provider resources and can be slower, especially remotely. Filter on ID, LogName, ProviderName, and time first. Read message last. Third, permissions matter. Security logs require the right privileges, and some operational logs are disabled until a feature starts using them. Windows PowerShell 5.1 still has Get-EventLog, so old scripts may run there and fail in PowerShell 7. Rewrite them around Get-WinEvent. Also remember, event logs are evidence, not a complete root cause by themselves. This commandlet sits right in the middle of Windows administration. When a service crashes, you query events. When a server reboots, you query events. When a change window goes sideways, you query events. Later in the series, we will layer this with jobs, scheduled tasks, remoting, and structured exports, so you can ask one question across an entire organizational unit, or OU, without hand-opening servers. The security tier also builds on this exact muscle. Security auditing is not magic. It is disciplined event ID work, good filters, time windows, and repeatable collection. Learn Get-WinEvent now. and those later episodes will feel much less mysterious. Take 10 minutes on your own workstation or a test virtual machine. First, run Get-WinEvent-list-log and sort by record count descending. Pick the top 20 and notice how many logs you did not know existed. Second, run Get-WinEvent-LogName system, MaxEvents 20, and read the shape of the objects. Third, query the last 7 days for IDs 6008 and 41 using FilterHashtable. Fourth, query ID 7045 from Service Control Manager. Do not change anything. These are read-only commands. If you want the lesson to stick, time a bad version that pulls a large log and filters with where object. Then, time the FilterHashtable version. The difference teaches the habit. Recap. First, Get-EventLog is an old Windows PowerShell 5.1 habit. Get-WinEvent is the modern tool for Windows event logs. Second, FilterHashtable filters at the source. Where object is for cleanup after you already narrowed the result. Third, use MaxEvents and a time window before you touch a giant log. For admin IDs, remember 6008 for dirty shutdown, 41 for kernel power, and 7045 for a new service. Tomorrow, we keep building the administration toolkit with commands you can trust under pressure. New PowerShell episode daily on this channel.